to survive longer than anyone. That's the goal. And while our characters' goals may have been the same, this episode details a great amount the different ways Isabella and the children of Gracefield went about achieving that goal, how different their approach to survival was. We finally get a look back at Isabella and what has led her to become the person who she is today. And much to no surprise, much like Emma, Ray, Norman, Phil, everybody from Gracefield and every other house, it was a life filled with little moments that stand out, but still filled with tragedy and hardship. We see Isabella as a child hit every roadblock, face every decision our characters have had to make. And it is here where the major differences between Isabella and the rest of our characters lie. Isabella was presented with an opportunity to go against the grain, to challenge the status quo. But whether it be due to a lack of ability, courage, or support, was unable or unwilling to do so. Isabella was unable to take that leap. And it's here where those parallels that have been hinted at truly start to become more evident and heart-wrenching. Those parallels between Emma and Norman with Isabella and Leslie. A group of people that have gone through similar things, but Emma and Norman had one additional thing that essentially increased the possibility of an escape, of survival, and that's Ray. I don't know why or how, but Ray's rationality brings a certain balance to things, a balance Isabella and Leslie lacked, which is probably why things ended up the way they did for them. It got to a point where escape was no longer a way for Isabella to survive, so she made the decisions she had to make. And so did the children of Gracefield, and the results of this decision now leave them in a very liberating but unfamiliar environment. And that's one of the main gripes I think most people who are manga readers have had with this adaptation. The Promised Neverland is a series of choices. A series where you choose whether you want to define for yourself what happiness is. A series where you choose if you're capable of withstanding a burden. A series where you choose whether you live or die. And all of these choices are a byproduct of all the choices you've made before. Phil's decision to stay and wait for Emma's return. Emma's decision to not give up the way Isabella did. Every decision Ray has made in the last 6 years, and Norman's decision to give his life for the sake of his family's survival. Every decision made in this series, both the ones we're aware of and the ones we're not, are not reactionary. A lot of thought goes into them. And I feel like a lot of people felt as if that aspect of this series wasn't given nearly as much attention as it deserved. I personally don't feel that way, which is why I really do want to touch on how this episode did as an adaptation, because I was really happy with it. In a sense, it was everything I wanted it to be, but there were some things I was really sad seeing didn't make it into the anime. So let's begin. This episode covers chapters 35 to 37 and also begins the coverage of volume 5 of the manga. And I just want to mention, there's literally a lot to be happy about regarding how Cloverworks and the staff handled this finale, so the things I'm about to mention are in no way meant to discredit them from that. It's just that in my discussions, I tend to look at things from our characters' perspective, and the things I'm going to mention are just meant to give us a better understanding of them as they offer more depth and insight. For example, this episode marks a major turning point for Ray. Ray's in a tough spot because of the choices he has made. He doesn't regret them, but he still feels the pain of seeing his family get sent off one by one and being unable to do anything about it. part of the reason Ray was so sold on the idea of lighting himself on fire is because he saw it as a form of atonement. Ray, after all the lives he sacrificed, and after thinking of the kids that are currently pursuing freedom as a hindrance, doesn't feel as if he's worthy of reveling in this. Ray is not sure if he's worthy of fighting and striving for a future that is like a dream. Ray can't undo the choices he's made. He can't take back the words he said, but he can learn to make better choices. He can learn to not shoulder a burden all on his own when he has a family more than willing to shoulder a part of that for him. He can protect them, he can survive, and I don't doubt that he will. But I thought this was an aspect of Ray that wasn't expressed as clearly as I would have liked it to have been. However, on the other side of things, regarding Ray's mama, literally, Isabella, I absolutely loved everything they did with her and how they handled it. Isabella's flashback to learning her lullaby from Leslie, a person who obviously meant the world to her, and seeing how Leslie being harvested affected Isabella's decision making, really makes you wonder how Norman being harvested would have affected Emma's decision making if it weren't for Ray, Dawn, Gilda, etc. The parallels, the idea of both son and mother losing in the end, it was all handled so beautifully. Isabella arriving just as Emma is about to say goodbye is completely anime original and a change I absolutely loved, because as Isabella's hair falls and flows with the wind, so does her restraints. She loves these kids. She hopes the light they're chasing leads them to a world where they can grow and be happy and live like a family. And even after all that, there are still people who doubt Isabella's true feelings. And I think the addition of this tiny piece of dialogue could essentially just solve that problem completely. In the manga, after the children successfully escape, Isabella is left standing there. She wonders as to what she could have done differently, but all she can think about is how much her children have grown and how she wishes she could have just loved them normally. It's truly heartbreaking and gives Isabella this sense of humanity we'd never seen from her before. Is this anime adaptation perfect? No, Cloverworks had the unfortunate task of adapting what is largely considered, by a lot of people who've read this series, one of the best introductory arcs in manga history. You see, for me, this anime presented a lot of strengths and also some things that can be improved upon, of course. And if Season 2, now confirmed to come out sometime in 2020, covers the events I think it will be covering, hopefully with improved pacing via more episodes to work with and better art in some places, Season 2 will be a lot better than what we got this time around. But hey, these are my thoughts and I'm curious to read yours. So let me know what you thought about this episode. Did it make you cry as much as it made me cry? What are your general thoughts of this season? If you're an anime only, let me know if you will pick up the manga or wait for Season 2. And if you're a manga reader, I'm really curious to see how you felt about this season as well and how Cloverworks handled it. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, it helps the channel out a lot, and also feel free to follow me on Twitter, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and to hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video and can continue watching The Promised Neverland Season 2 whenever the fuck it comes out, and a bunch of other series with me. And with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.